guys, it's Cindy. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'm playing with one of my bookmaking books, The Art of the Fold. It's by Hedi Kyle and her daughter. I think you pronounce it Ulla Warcall. I'm not sure. I love her work. She's very artistic, and you can just tell that paper folding is her passion. Just when you read the introduction and look at some of her work, the work is amazing. Now, however, having said that, most of the bookmaking books that I have are not designed for those of you who just have 12 by 12 paper in your craft room. And so I like to, on occasion, take some of these books out. I did a whole series on folded paper back when I used to do Facebook. So I'm going to recreate some of those and put them on YouTube and put them into measurements so that you can use your 12 by 12 paper. So today, one of the things that I'm going to do is in a little accordion book with a cover, and it has a cute little tab here to hold the book in place. And I'm not going to make this teeny weeny one, but I am going to give you the measurements below if you decide you want to make a smaller one. I made one for myself, and in here I have, I'm putting ephemera. I have a bunch of little tickets that I made, and I think they look adorable in here in this little book. I haven't filled it up yet. I just made it a few minutes ago, so haven't had time to really fill it up yet. So for this little one, I will give you the measurements, but I'm not going to make this one. I'm going to make the one that gives you the dimensions that are in her book. So the first thing that you have to start out with is an accordion style notebook, which there are tons of videos on how to do just a simple accordion, and all it is, it's just not complicated at all. It's just folding a piece of paper so that you have peaks and valleys, or I guess maybe the technical term is mountains and valleys. I don't know. I call them peaks and valleys. So I'm not going to follow her instructions because I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I tried to follow these instructions and it seems like there's one fold that's missing. There's only 3 folds here, and you're supposed to be making 8 valleys, peaks, 8 pages, folds. So either I'm just not reading this correctly or there's a mistake here. I find a ton of mistakes in these books. Um, you should see one of the other books I have. I practically rewrote the whole thing, but this one so far is okay. It's probably just me. So to start with, you do need a piece of 8.5 by 17-inch paper. So to make an 8.25 by 17-inch, I think I might have said 8.5 earlier, 8.25 by 17-inch piece of paper, we're going to cut 2 pieces of paper. This one is 8.25 by 12, and this one is 8.25 by 5.25. Okay, and all we're going to do is join them together. This one is a quarter of an inch longer than it needs to be because we're going to have a quarter of an inch overlap right here. So I like to use just quarter-inch tape. That's the easiest way, but if you don't have quarter-inch tape, what you can do is just draw yourself a quarter-inch line, put some glue on it, and join your 2 pieces of paper together. Trying to be as even as you possibly can, because if this is uneven from this one, your folding is not going to be even. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it because I think that's easier on the eyes than looking at that stark white piece of paper. I would recommend, by the way, that if you're new at this, that you might want to pick a pattern that doesn't have an up or a down. In other words, something that doesn't have writing in it, so you don't have to worry about the words being upside down when you're folding. That I would say that about any beginning folding that you're going to do. She recommends text weight paper, which is a little thicker than what I'm using here. I'm just using a real cheapo scrapbook paper that's the weight of photocopy paper, and that's fine. In my little tiny book, I used a thicker craft paper, and it's kind of it's a little too thick and it's having a hard time staying shut. So I would recommend either regular scrapbook paper or, as she recommends, text weight paper. Works well as too. So the first thing we're going to do with the accordion fold is we're just going to fold the paper in half. Okay. And when I fold, I don't fold straight down like this. I like to go in and out towards the edge. That helps you to not have any bubbles. It gives you a straighter fold. That's just a really quick tip. Sometimes if you go straight like this, you might find that your edge down here is a little wonky. So then you're going to open it up so that you have a mountain. Well, no, you don't have to open it up. Let's do it this way. So now you're going to keep it closed, sorry. And then you're going to fold it over again. Again, I'm going from here out towards the edge, and then using my bone folder to crease it. Okay, and then, I'm looking at her book, and yeah, she did leave out a step. I see what she's trying to say, but she left out that step that I just did. So if you are following along in her book, there's a step in here. Step 3 should be what I just did. Now her step 3 is you've got this mountain here, and you're going to fold each end in towards the center. Okay, so I'm not going crazy. There is a step missing. And I find that with a lot of bookmaking books, that you really have to do a prototype the first time around to make sure there aren't any errors. And I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to slam her book at all. I don't want this to be a negative video. So, okay, now you should have 8 folds, 8 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we do. So that's good. So the next thing you want to do is you're going to take on your end piece here, you're going to fold it over. So let me just draw this so you can maybe see a little better. Here's my first fold here, and so I'm just folding this over so that it meets that line. I'm folding it over into a triangle, and we're going to do that on all 4 corners. What I like to do at this point to make sure that I have a good fold, because what we're going to do now is where these triangles are, we're going to fold the paper up and down. So you can take your ruler and, well, I would need a longer ruler here. Let's see. You can take your ruler and draw a line in between your 2 triangles like this, and that's where we're going to fold. I like to use my scoreboard. Now this is too long for my scoreboard, so I'm just going to go down to the bottom of my scoreboard just to give myself a little head start. And this is, it doesn't always line up. This is good enough. If I do 2 1/8. So if you want to use your scoreboard and you want to score at 2 1/8, that should work. 2 1/8. I'm not going all the way down because I'll rip my paper. Okay, so then I'm going to fold up using my score line as a guide. Okay. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And there we go. You always want to burnish. Okay, and there's going to be a tiny bit of an overlap, and that's good. That's what you want. So now, take your paper and fold it back in half. Make sure it's kind of even. Make any adjustments that you need to make. Okay, and fold it like an accordion. Back and forth, back and forth, flip it over, back and forth, and back and forth. And then this is where I like to just square it up and make sure that it's all nice and even. This one turned out pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just press pretty hard and burnish it down and get those creases really nice. And this is where I always forget, let's see, the pockets are on the bottom. And did I fold this correctly? Yes, okay, good. So the triangle should be facing this way, and your pockets should be on the bottom. And your book, the book portion, is actually made. Very simple. Accordion books are simple. They've been around forever, I think since the ancient Chinese. So let's make a cover. For the cover, she does recommend cardstock, and I am using cardstock. I'm going to try a little bit of a brighter color this time. For the cover, she recommends 3 7/8 by 8.5, but I'm not getting my books to turn out that size, so I don't know if that's another mistake or I'm just folding improperly. My books are turning out 4 1/16. So I'm going to do my paper at 4 1/16 by 8.5. But you do whatever, oh, that's perfect. You do whatever is the height of, well, here we go. The height of your book by 8.5 should be your paper. By the way, I forgot to mention on this particular book, I did the accordion fold with a sheet of 6 by 12. So I just took a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and cut it in half, and I did the folds the exact same way. And the cover, you need to make sure, I don't remember what this cover was. Did I write it on the inside? No. You want, for your cover, you want it to be the width of your book times 2, because you have a front and a back, plus your spine, which is about 1/4 of an inch, plus 3 extra inches. So yeah, so my book, so this cover ended up being 1.5, 3, 6, 6 1/4 by 2 1/4 was my cover for this one, just in case you want to make one of the smaller ones. Okay, so for the cover, you're going to need a pencil and a ruler. And measuring in from this edge, you want to draw a pencil line at 5/16 of an inch. 5/16. And you want to do that on both sides. And you just need a mark there. 5/16. Okay, did I do that correctly on here? Did I measure? Yeah, okay. So then what you're going to do is, so see the mark there at 5/16, and there's one on each end. So now what I'm going to do is fold this up to that mark, making sure, this is why you don't need to draw a line, you just want to make sure that it's even on the edge here, and crease it down. What we're doing is we're making the spine here. This is not good paper for this, it's feathering. But this is just a demo, so that's okay. Open it up and do it on the opposite end. So folding up to my little 5/16 mark, making sure I'm even on the sides. And so there you have the start of a cover, and you see you have a spine that's about 1/4 of an inch. Take your book and just make sure that that it's going to fit in there, and it does. This is an awful color with this. I didn't realize how yellow this was until I was just looking at it, but that's okay. I'm demonstrating. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to take and draw 2 more lines. So let me just draw these so you see. Okay, so there's our spine fold, right? So next what you're going to do is you're going to come in 1/4 of an inch from each of the spine folds. 1/4 of an inch here, and 1/4 of an inch here. Okay, and you're going to fold just like you did before. So you're going to take your end and fold up to that line, and you're going to make sure that your edges are nice and even. This wouldn't be feathering if I used my scoreboard. So I think if I want to use this paper again, I will use my scoreboard. That's one of the neat things about scoreboards, is they help prevent feathering because they sort of give the paper a start before you abuse it like this. Okay. All right, so this is what you should have now. You should have a spine. You should have the ends that are going over your covers, and then 2 flaps. These flaps here, they are going to go inside here, like this. See how they go? They're going in there. Okay? But there's a couple more things we have to do. First, we want to miter these flaps here that are going to slip inside your book. They need to be mitered just slightly, and they're not going to show, so don't worry about getting them all even and all that. Just a slight miter to help them slip in there a little easier. Okay. So let's take our book and let's make sure that this is going to work. Wait a minute, am I doing this right? Yes, I am. No, I didn't do it right. So I always do this. I do this every time. So I've ended up with this. What I did was I folded my peaks and valleys wrong. So instead of being like this, I need to reverse all of these. So this, sorry about that, guys. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let me reverse it and then I'll show you what I mean. I do this every single time that I do an accordion, so because unfortunately now it's a habit. You would think that I would learn, but no. No. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now what we have is, so this triangle should be on the inside. You see? It should fold like this. Sorry about the confusion. So they're on the inside. So now this will go in. Now we can stick that in. Okay. And we're going to stick the other end in. Whoops. Fumble fingers here. I'm going to stick the other end in. Okay, so we stuck each end in. And now we have our little book. Okay, cute. So the last thing we want to do is we want to do this little tab here that goes in there. So you do have to take the cover back off. And I need my cutting mat. Okay, so let me draw another line here so you know where I'm at. Where I am. Okay, so this is the line for this flap that's slipping inside the book, and you just want to draw a little tab. Just hand draw it. Just kind of, you can make it any shape you want. You could do it like that. You could do it rounded, but have it go to about 3/4 of the way over, because you need it to be long enough. And then just cut it out with your X-Acto knife. You can be more precise about this if you want to. For demonstration purposes, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm fine with that. My X-Acto knife is a little dull. Okay. So then you cut it out and then you have this. All right. Now before I put this back on, I'm going to ink it up a little bit. And I want to heavily ink the tab just so that it stands out a little bit from the cover. You could put a little brad on that tab, a little ribbon. You could decorate it up if you want to. I'm not going to decorate today. I just wanted to do a real quick video. It's late in the day for me. It's about 4:45, and I'm a little tired today. So, just doing a quickie. Okay, slip it back in. Then you want to wrap it around. And I like to kind of pinch it like this. And then crease it just a little bit this way and this way. Okay, and then the last thing we have to do is we have to make a little slot to put this tab in. So I'm just going to draw a little line here and a little line there. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. You see it's right there and right there. Just a little wider than this so it slips in and out easier. And unfortunately you have to take off the cover one more time, but that's okay. Go ahead and find your marks. I was going to say, now I can't find mine. Okay. And then you're just going to draw a little slit. Not draw, you're going to cut a little slit. And I like to do mine a little wider. Just a little wider. Sometimes I just take my X-Acto knife and just kind of scrape it, because it makes it go in there easier. And then the last time, let's go ahead and put this in there and in here. I think it's really clever the way she did this little flip, this little flap. I like that a lot. I like the way she made the cover on this. She is very clever. Okay, and then the tab goes in there. And there's our cute little book. Our little accordion book. Mine's a little sticking out of the cover a little bit. That's why, like I said, instead of using her measurement, I think it was 3 7/8, I like to add 1/8 of an inch. I probably should have added a little bit more than that. Measure your book and have it be the correct height of your book. Because if you don't fold perfectly, which nobody does, you're not going to come out with an exact 3 7/8 book. I never do. So now you have this really cool book. Um, Oops, I put it in upside down. Try this again. I had the pockets on the top. That means I'm tired. I do the stupidest things when I'm tired. Do you guys? Tell me in the comments below some stupid thing that you did when you were tired one time. All right, so there we go. So now we open it up and we've got the pockets. And so I have some stamps I can put in there. This would make just such a cool, cute gift. I have some decorated paper clips that can go in there. Whoopsie. It can get clipped on, or it can just, I can't even clip it on. There, can clip it on or put it right in the pocket. And I think, man, I am just going to rip that. That's all there is to it. And I think these are really cute. This little tiny ephemera book. I think it'd be cute for a craft fair. So we've got this one. Yeah, I need to make that slot just a little bit bigger. I think in the future I'm going to cut 2 slots right next to each other just to make it a little bit easier to get it in there. So now I've got this one, the vintage looking one, and then the little tiny baby one made with a sheet of 6 by 12. This one I can't get in there either. I think I would do 2 slits for these. And a little bitty baby one. Very cute. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you have this nifty book, The Art of the Fold. And there are a couple more in here that I want to modify for those of us who have just 12 by 12 paper in the craft room. So stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video. Whoops, spring.